Good evening. This is Making the Case. I'm Yodit Tewolde. We start tonight with a major update in the case of Andrew Brown Jr., the 42-year-old black man shot and killed by sheriff's deputies in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. A state autopsy report released yesterday confirms that Brown's death was a homicide and that he was killed by a fatal bullet wound to the back of the head. Brown was shot by North Carolina sheriff's deputies serving an arrest warrant in what his family have called an execution. The report matches the conclusions of the independent autopsy report released by the Brown family shortly after his death in April. The county DA, Andrew Womble, said last month he wasn't charging any of the deputies involved after concluding that the killing was justified. The Brown family at the time said Womble was trying to whitewash the killing and that the deputies were clearly not in fear for their lives. Back with me is one of the attorneys for the Brown family, Chance Lynch. Thanks for coming back on, Counselor.
Thanks for having me, Yodit. It's always a pleasure to be with you.
Likewise. Okay, so first of all, is it true that the Brown family first learned of the autopsy report findings through media?
Sadly, that is very true. That is the first time that that the family was able to learn of it. We still have not had any direct communication or any correspondence with the elected DA. As you know, he did not meet with the family as most elected DAs, the protocol that they follow before deciding to publicly release it. They will or will not press charges against an officer. That did not happen. This autopsy was released without any type of correspondence with the family as well. So sadly, that is very true.
All right, so we already knew that Andrew Brown was killed by a bullet to the back of the head, but we also know that the state autopsy reports don't always accurately reflect the true manner and cause of a person's death, especially in a police killing. So were you surprised by the findings in this report?
No, the findings, Yodit, I mean, they completely confirm what Attorney Cherry Lassiter and I saw when we looked at the video. We saw them firing shots while he was trying to get away from them at a great distance. And one of the things about the autopsy that I think should really be considered and that we should pay attention to is that it's no type of powder tattooing, which means that there's no burn around the entry of those wounds. That tells us that he was not shot in close range. That means that he was shot with a high-powered weapon while he was at a great distance away from them, which further confirms that he was not ever at any point a threat to the police officers, and especially while he was en route away from them when he was shot and killed and murdered by the police officers.
Now, Chance, why was this report completed by the North Carolina State Medical Examiner's Office rather than the County Medical Examiner's Office?
Well, you know, I think that one of the things is it created an opportunity for it to come out of the system and network of people who are entangled with those who serve that area, wherein we have a tremendous amount of questions. You have the sheriff's office that's connected to so many people. With it going to ECU School, Brody School of Medicine, it was important for us to be able to get an unbiased opinion and to be able to get out of the community where those individuals who serve that area are connected with the people who are the assailants and the murderers in this case, to be able to give us a fair and accurate depiction of what happened. And that's what we got. Everything that's on that report confirms what we saw and what we have believed from the beginning. That is, it was an unjustified killing.
Now, do you think that if the report was completed by the North Carolina or the County Medical Examiner's Office that it would have said something different?
Well, I don't know, Yodit. I don't want to speculate. I don't want to say yes, and I don't want to say no. I don't know what that would have happened. All we have before us tonight is the outcome of what we received from the Chief Medical Examiner's Office, and I think that given that, it shows it shows the conflict between what the elected is insinuating versus what the facts really are.
Now, even though the autopsy report made clear that it likely had no impact on his cause of death, are you concerned about the authorities using the toxicology reports, finding a trace amount of methamphetamine in Mr. Brown's system to argue, somehow that contributed to his death?
No, not at all. I think that what that does is just an opportunity for them to attempt to change the narrative. Earlier, I was speaking with another news channel, and I said, "Listen, let's be completely transparent and upfront here. Mr. Brown is not on trial. Yodit, he is the victim in this case, and just as the elected attempted to do in his press conference when he decided not to press charges against these murderers, he spent a significant amount of time highlighting the criminal history and background of Mr. Brown. That's not at issue here. What's at issue is what happened on that day in question, and that amount, that part of the toxicology, part of the autopsy is not at all alarming, concerning right now. That has nothing to do with what killed and what took the life of Andrew Brown. And what took his life were the deputies who were firing at him while he was not a threat. Clearly, the autopsy says that he was shot from the back to the front. Now, how in the world you are a threat to someone when you are walking away or driving away from them, I don't know. I think that's a question that the citizens should ask their elected DA.
Now, you withdrew your petition to have all the body camera footage from the shooting released. Can you tell us why?
Well, as you know, in that petition or the notice to withdraw, we listed our reasons. We stand on those reasons, wherein after subsequent conversations, we felt that it was in the best interest of the family, and the family decided that it was necessary for us to withdraw that petition so that we would not face potential consequences that would limit our ability to represent them zealously and to the best of our ability pursuant to the applicable law. And so in light of that, so that I don't tread the line of violating any rules of professional conduct, I'll just say that we rest on our arguments and our position within that notice of withdrawal.
All right, fair enough. Okay, so now that the autopsy has been released, what's next in the case?
Well, the elected made a comment. I understand, that this is over, and I don't know what world he lives in, but I want to be clear that it is not. We have kept communication open with the family, and we will be pursuing a federal action. That will be coming down the road. I understand that there are still some probes taking place, even at this moment, with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We are still continuing to fight the fight for transparency and accountability. So that fight is not over. We're going to do everything that we can to adequately represent this family and to hold these officers responsible.
All right, Brown family attorney Chance Lynch, thank you so very much and hope to have you back on.
Thanks so much, Yodit. Always good to be with you.